At 8:14 a.m. local time on the 6th of August, 1945, the B-29 Enola Gay dropped a 9,700-pound atomic bomb over the city of Hiroshima, the headquarters of the Second Army, responsible for the defense of southern Japan. The bomb, called Little Boy, was exploded at a height of 1,968 feet to maximize the effect of the blast. The explosive power of the bomb was approximately equal to 15,000 pounds of TNT, or the conventional payload of 2,000 B-29 bombers. The atomic blast triggered a fireball almost 900 feet in diameter with a temperature of 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit. A supersonic shockwave was followed by hurricane-force winds felt 2 miles from ground zero. An estimated 80,000 people were killed within seconds. Perhaps 60,000 perished of radiation poisoning in the days, weeks, months, and years that followed. 7 months after Little Boy, in March 1946, U.S. Army cameras survey some of the physical damage. The flat layout of the riverfront city aided the spread of fires. Half of the buildings in Hiroshima had been made of wood and were incinerated. Many concrete buildings were destroyed, but others, reinforced against potential earthquakes, suffered less damage. 8,575 feet from ground zero, the roof of a light wooden frame structure is still partially intact, but it's been displaced from its original position, which is marked by 2 boys helping the cameraman. "7,750 feet from ground zero, a small 2-story reinforced concrete building, with the second story now in the ground floor. 7,400 feet from ground zero, this wooden building has somehow escaped damage from fire, but not from the effects of the bomb blast. "6,375 feet from ground zero, a 2-story reinforced concrete building, gutted by fire. 5,600 feet from ground zero is the rubble and debris of the Yamanaka Girls' High School, obliterated by fire. 4,800 feet from ground zero, a Japanese Red Cross building. Many steel casement windows torn out by the blast have been replaced with wooden shutters. 3,075 feet from ground zero, another concrete building that survived the blast but was gutted by fire. The neighboring 7-story building, 2,950 feet from ground zero, has also maintained its concrete structure, although fire has destroyed its interior. This reinforced concrete building, 2,650 feet from ground zero, seems to have survived intact, unless you look at the side that was directly facing the blast. At 2,375 feet from ground zero, another 3-story building of reinforced concrete has survived the atomic blast, but not the firestorm. "2,300 feet from ground zero, this concrete building along the Ota River was built to withstand earthquakes and has stood up to the Little Boy explosion less than half a mile away. Fires inside the building have damaged the steel casement windows, which are being replaced by wooden frames. 1,400 feet from ground zero, a 3-story brick building barely survives. Its full collapse is imminent. By contrast, this compact concrete-framed building with rough tiled sides, just 600 feet from ground zero, is essentially undamaged. A two-story reinforced concrete building 450 feet from ground zero. Steel casement windows on the side facing away from the blast have been forced outward. Inside, the walls are burned. A steel roof support is separating from its wall. The outer cement wall is burned, but any human beings in the immediate vicinity were turned to ash. Of Hiroshima's 7 square miles, 4 were destroyed. 1/3 of the population died within seconds, some vaporized out of existence. 72% of the city's buildings were destroyed or severely damaged. But the destruction was not absolute, leaving grim mementos like the twisted metal of buses, or the electric clock in the imperial textile mills, stopped and frozen in time at the moment the bomb went off. On the 9th of August, 1945, the B-29 Boxcar dropped the last nuclear weapon deployed in combat to date over the port city of Nagasaki, home to the Mitsubishi Steel and Arms Works and the Mitsubishi Urakami Torpedo Works. The bomb, named Fat Man, exploded at 11:02 a.m. at an altitude of 1,650 feet, with a force equivalent to 21,000 tons of TNT, 40% more than the Hiroshima bomb. Despite this, the immediate damage to Nagasaki was not as great. The bomb was not detonated directly over a residential area, and the blast was partly absorbed and unevenly distributed by the surrounding hills. Nevertheless, every living thing in Nagasaki within some 3,000 feet of ground zero died instantly. An estimated 40,000 people were killed August 9th by the blast, fire, or falling buildings. Perhaps 70,000 more died of wounds and radiation over the next 5 months, and an additional 140,000 died over the next 5 years. In November 1945, 3 months after the bombing and 2 months after the end of the war, American researchers come to Nagasaki to ascertain the structural damage. Here, researchers examine flash burns on roof tiles found in a stream bed 900 feet from ground zero. 1,200 feet from ground zero, researchers measure ambient radiation levels. They do this in and around what was once the city prison. The prison's concrete walls have been destroyed or badly damaged. The only structures still intact are near the center of the prison. The boiler house's concrete smokestack, the riveted metal stack, and the water tank made from poured concrete. Moving away to 1,700 feet from ground zero takes in the area of what had once been the Shirayama Elementary School. More than 1,400 students, teachers, and others died here. The basic structure of the building survived. Today, it's been rebuilt as a peace memorial. At 1,800 feet from ground zero, researchers look into how Fat Man's force and heat distorted and destroyed the concrete of Nagasaki's Deaf and Dumb Institute. Also at 1,800 feet from ground zero, the remains of the Urakami Cathedral. The red brick cathedral was the largest Christian church in Asia prior to August 9, 1945. 2 priests and several dozen parishioners died instantly. along with perhaps 8,500 other Christians in Nagasaki. The cathedral was rebuilt in the 1950s. Near the cathedral, some 2,000 to 2,200 feet from ground zero, was Nagasaki's Catholic kindergarten. The school had a reinforced concrete frame with one brick-and-mortar wall, badly damaged by the blast. At 4,600 feet from ground zero, there was a remarkable survivor. A small shrine housing a picture of Emperor Hirohito. The bronze doors of the shrine were opened once a year to pay homage to the emperor. The doors showed the effect of the blast 3/4 of a mile away, but the shrine was protected in part by concrete industrial structures to the south, which bore the brunt of the bomb's shock and heat. In Nagasaki, as in Hiroshima, some human-made structures survived atomic warfare when humans didn't. Was it miraculous? A mockery? Or just the luck of the draw? Some looked at the twisted steel and cracked concrete and thought this is a warning to go no further. Others saw these relics of apocalypse as evidence that nuclear war wouldn't be that terrible and might be worth another try.